Dave Palumbo with RxMuscle.com. We are here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for the 2013 NPC Nationals. I'm here with Tad, the diet coach, and Chris, the technician, Aceto. And we are about to wrap up the men's prejudging here. Chris, one of the biggest men's events probably in the history of the NPC Nationals, but not one of the deepest in terms of talent pool goes. And that's not to take away from anything away from what we saw today, but I was less than impressed with the lineup out there. Specifically, if we start with the super heavyweight class, since we're going to break this down, I thought it might have been the worst super heavyweight class of all time.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of guys, but, there was a lot to be desired in terms of people not having either the conditioning that they need at a show like this, or just not really the mass, meaning they,
well, you said it right.
Well, I think what's happening...
What's the theme today?
Get ripped,
right.
Burn the fat. But also part of that is actually muscle size. And I think what happens is people qualify in, let's say, some type of show, and they think that...
In Alaska.
Well, Maine or New Hampshire, and they think, it's not Los Angeles or Miami, and they think, okay, I'm qualified, so I'm going. And it's admirable to throw your hat in the fire, so to speak, but at the same time, a lot of guys aren't ready.
And I saw a lot of unreadiness because, when I did play-by-play for every single male out there, and I think you guys did too, and there were some people that you just didn't know what to say after a while.
Yeah, you wonder who told them to come to the show. Yeah. I mean, especially when
Good for the promoter, because it was got a lot of competitors in the show.
I think it was, almost 900 or about around 900?
Maybe 1,000, yeah.
Yeah, so it was great for the promoters, but it doesn't really speak much for a lot of experience for some of the guys who really needs to really be better shape.
Let's talk about that super heavyweight class. Joel Thomas, who I thought was going to be a heavyweight, probably should have been a heavyweight had he been in the best shape of his life, rolls into this thing and looks like he's going to win this class kind of by default. I mean, this guy has got an amazing structure. You said it yourself when you first saw him, standing in the lineup, relaxed in the front. He's pretty dominant. When he turned around, obviously, he showed a lack of conditioning in the glutes, hamstring area. Yeah. But how good is he, or how good can he be?
Well, he was pushed, for the win because it's disputable whether he's going to be the winner or not.
Sure.
But, how good can he be? I think, I think he's got a limit. And the limit is the limit he's imposing on himself because he's not coming in ever. Really.
Never seen him in shape.
No. Not the type of shape where you can say, wow, this guy is going to be really something, because I think on my play-by-play I use the P word, potential, but that doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, sure, he looked great here. It's a weak class, but at the same time, bodybuilding diehard fans want to see him with that slam dunk conditioning on that structure so that we can say, okay, we just coronated some new great bodybuilder.
Yeah, and the next natural question is how does this speak to the transition to make it to a pro? Let's see, he gets his pro card.
He doesn't have one cut on his glute or hamstring. Zero. There's no.
So there's he's
nothing.
He's guaranteed a nice last place finish at even at the lowest pro shows, most likely.
Right. First, if he looks like this.
If he looks like this, right.
Now Ryan Paderaki, who looks like he's going to snag second. Now remember, just for those of you out there who don't know, there's 2 pro cards being given out at each class in the men's division. Ryan Paderaki, who I know for a long time, I've actually worked with him before. I've seen him a lot harder. He gets retardedly hard if he wants to. He's probably at 90% here, and he's still harder than everyone else in the class. And he might not have the best shape, but arguably, I think he could win the class. I mean, because he's in better shape than Thomas, but obviously Thomas with the beautiful structure.
Yeah, and then you got guys like Frank Stenson who made the top 5 somehow. And I like Frank. He's a good friend of mine.
Got a lot of muscle.
He got a lot of muscle, and he looks freaky from his arms and stuff. But he may or may not even place in top 5 at a regional show looking like that. At some of the ones that I've been to.
Right.
Just because he had still had fat on his back. And
it's a tough decision for the judges to pick who they're going to pick for this class, that's for sure. The heavyweight class, which was probably the premier class in the show, and that's not saying that much because it wasn't that competitive, probably the overall winner will come from here. Kevin Jordan squared off, in this class against someone that you're very familiar with, Brad Rowe, who you helped, and another guy, Eric Ramirez, who I used to help years ago. I mean, it was a 3-man competition. They had all 3 guys out there for the last call out. And, I was going pose for pose and comparing who's going to win this, who's going to win that. And I came up with Kevin Jordan winning more of the majority of poses. What was your opinion on this class?
I think Kevin Jordan wins standing relaxed in the lineup. I think that I think Brad is more just a dense, harder-looking bodybuilder in just a lot of
Better
other
legs,
shots.
way better legs.
Yeah, I mean, better legs, better back, like density. Even though Kevin's got a wider back, on the side shots, just more like ness to the muscle. Looks like it's harder trained, and that might not be true. But at the same time, when they come back and still stand that last stance to the front, what's very impressive about Kevin is small waist, round pecs, which is hard to get round pecs when you got a wide frame, he also has a wide frame, which is a good highlight to his physique, and big delts. I saw it between those two, and the class had a lot of potentially good guys there. There was a lot of guys who were getting beat because they did not bring.
Didn't burn the fat. Didn't burn the fat.
It's the Nationals.
Yeah, and these top three guys actually, nice classic example of, some guy who's super ripped and hard, one guy who's got really great shape, and one guy who's sort of in the middle.
Exactly.
And Brad being in the middle, and so in some spots he could look like he could take it, so it's sort of a toss-up.
I mean, Ramirez wins a couple of pros, arguably. I think so. He's got that back lat spread one,
and he was really freaky hard, and he was very, very, very shredded. So
not structurally as nice as Jordan,
and not full in some areas he needed to be full in. So which is where he lost out to to Brad and to So it'll be interesting to see.
Jordan's got that overall look. If I'm thinking in my head, who's going to win the overall? Let's go past the heavyweights. Who's going to win the overall here? I see Kevin Jordan as the overall champion, and that's, I think, why he might win the heavyweight class.
Absolutely, I have to agree. I mean, by slim margin, but I still probably think, and he's so impressive when he stands there from the front, relaxed with these wide shoulders and small waist. He's got all the right pieces.
One of the most exciting classes in the show was the light heavyweight class, who my old friend Lorenzo Jones, who I think he has, the most victories in 1 year or something like that?
14 shows in 1 year, I think.
Something like that now. I don't think it's like 8 or 9 or something like that.
Well,
including the Junior USA overall.
Yeah, he was, he's older. And he's made a comeback because he hasn't been around for really a couple of years.
It took a year or two off, I think. Yeah.
And he's came back really better than ever. I mean, when he first comes out, he looks like total freak and nobody's going to beat him.
Yeah.
The
torn bicep,
he's got the torn bicep, and he's got a couple flaws like everyone here and there in his physique. But overall, for me, I thought he looked fabulous when he came out. And
tremendous wow.
Yeah, he had a lot of wow factor to him. He had a lot of what looked to me like muscle maturity to him, and he was in good condition. And I think I gave him the edge. It was a coin toss, but at the end of the day, I was just impressed with his freakiness to give him the first prize.
Well, Lorenzo is up. He's going up against Chris Tuttle from Connecticut. He took a number of years off from competing, and he came back last year as like kind of with a warm-up show. He did well, and now he's back at the national level, and he's going to get his pro card probably. Top 2 get the pro card.
I actually like Chris.
You like Tuttle? Why?
Because he had a lot of great potential. I hate to say that again, but he had a lot of. I see it structurally, and I think give him another year or two, and to fix some of the issues that he's got from this show, then I think.
What are his issues?
I think he needs to be just a little bit in better shape, just a little bit.
And I've seen him better. This is not the best we've seen him.
And fill out just a little bit more in certain areas he needs to fill out in.
And I think that's why I might go with Lorenzo Jones over him, because I think Lorenzo's got that little more polish. He's got a little more fullness, and there's really no weaknesses in Lorenzo's physique except the torn bicep, and it's really not that noticeable.
Yeah, no, I mean it's still one of those things. It's a coin toss. I was going back and forth. I at the very, very end I went with Lorenzo, but certainly I can live with Tuttle winning as well.
Let's talk about the men's middleweight class, where a relative unknown really kind of wowed all of us here. Yeah. Thomas Henderson was the last guy up. I was almost getting groggy, like doing the play-by-play, and then all of a sudden this guy kind of woke me up, and I'm like, wow, this guy is hard, like nasty hard, with dense muscle, really no flaws in his physique. I think he's set to win this class. Actually, I thought that Danny Hester might have got the class, and when Henderson turned around, it was just game over.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, and I know Danny pretty well, and I was kind of rooting for him because I've helped him in the past, but also he deserves a card sooner or later.
He might get one. Tell me what you like about Henderson.
He's thick. He's like a little tank, and he was nasty hard, and that's the key.
I mean, he easily wins this, Chris, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he looks like
he's like a little mini giant killer.
Yeah, he's got a lot of density. This is a word that you can come away from the Nationals here density, and there just wasn't a lot of it. His muscle looked like, wow, he trains really hard and diets really hard.
But Danny Hester, arguably from the front and sides, you can make a case for him winning. The guy, he's got a beautiful, better taper than Henderson, and he's got the nice ab insertions. He's got the good head of hair still at 50 years old.
Yeah. And he's got these classic lines that everybody likes, and he does have a pretty physique.
But he wasn't in shape from behind. That was the key.
Well, he always takes about maybe 4 weeks to do any show.
Oh, is that what it is? So he didn't diet long enough.
I don't think he ever diets long enough.
What about this guy, Michael Manai? I actually liked him. I thought that, he might push past Hester and get that second pro card.
Yeah, no, when they compared him, I thought I had Hester second, surprisingly, because I didn't expect much, and he delivered, at least in a lot of ways, with the exception of being soft from behind. But Michael Manai, I thought, had enough hardness and fresh-looking young muscle to overtake him for second place.
All right. Do you think that they'll give Hester just on
I think they're
sympathy?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's paid his dues, and he does have a fantastic physique.
He does have a great physique.
He's worthy of it.
I would like to see Hester get the pro card. In the welterweight class, we saw Ed Foster dominate this class. Well, not really dominate, but I think he's going to win this class. What were your thoughts on Ed Foster here?
I mean, he looked real. I thought he was a clear-cut winner to me when he stepped out. I thought, easy winner.
What'd you like about his physique?
He was in shape and he was complete. And I like that when I see when somebody who's in shape and complete. Everything's in place. There's no missing body parts. There's no underdevelopment, and he did his homework. So I thought he deserves it.
I think I agree. Alfredo Prince, who you said was the Anthony Pasquale lookalike up there. What'd you like about him? And can he overtake this guy, or will he just get the second pro card?
No, he can't overtake him because the winner is just. I thought he was peeled. I thought he was in tremendous condition, and I think once they compared him to other guys, you could really see what type of condition he was in. In terms of the guy who looks like Anthony Pasquale is going to be second place. What's his name again?
Alfredo Prince.
Alfredo Prince. I liked his square look to the pecs and shoulders, and he had like a square, which is a good look to the legs.
Bob Grushka would love him.
Yeah, he would love him. Any shot where he's like this with the legs and the square here, he looks outrageous.
He might make a good pro moving forward if he can get up to that 212 division.
Yeah, I think so, and I think he's got a lock here on second place.
In the lightweights, Damian Ricketts looks poised to win this class, Chris. The lightweights, usually are not a deep class. But I think there was like 25 guys. I never saw a lightweight class this stacked. You think it's because they're giving 2 pro cards now for every class?
I think that's part of it. I think that the Nationals draws people out in droves, and I think the idea that they're giving 2 pro cards, I think it naturally brings in at least another 5, 6, 7 guys per class where they say, okay, then I might not be able to win the class, but if I come in at my all-time best, then I can maybe snag a card. And this class, unlike other classes, there were a lot of guys straight across the board in better shape than like the bigger classes.
Yeah. Ricketts, does he win it?
He wins it. I think he does. There was only 2 other guys in the class that were even remotely close, but I'm always surprised whenever I see these lightweight classes, bantam classes, and welterweight. They look so big. I remember being this weight, and I was not that big.
No. Well, until the other guys come out that are bigger class.
Yeah, they're they're
not that big.
They're not that big.
And finally, in the men's bantamweight class, James Schubert, Tad, looks like he's going to take this class. It's funny, but the 2 bantamweights are getting pro cards this year, and it wasn't. Usually the bantams have 2, 3 guys in it. There's a lot of guys in the class.
I think there were 12 guys in this class.
Yeah, I bet you guys sucked down to make this weight class just because that one of those pro cards were up for grabs.
Absolutely, and I'm always sort of questioning what the value is for and I hate to say that because I'm not. These guys
think in their mind they're going to get up to 200 pounds after they turn pro.
Well, good.
And some of them have done it. Dexter Jackson.
That's true. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, some.
Right? Dexter not turned pro as a bantam, but he started as a bantam.
Yeah, well, he's only like 5'5".
Kenny Jones competed as a pro, right?
Yeah, Kenny Jones.
What about Marty Berger? Do you think he'll snag that second pro card?
He's going to snag second based on his condition.
All right. Well,
and I'll tell you, I had David Wynn, who you guys didn't like. He's probably going to get like 5th in that class.
I liked him actually. He's a little bit of a smaller bantamweight.
He's a smaller bantamweight, but I just like the structure.
He had to be 230. I 130 rather.
Yeah. I just had to mention it because I really liked this. I liked this.
Did you train him?
No, I didn't. I didn't. No. If I did, I'd probably say a little louder.
Oh, okay. Well, once again, the show was one of the biggest shows we had, but it was certainly not the most talented. But I think the overall winner, when it's all said and done, will be the right winner. I think that Kevin Jordan might be that guy. Will we know? Not till tomorrow night. Stay tuned for all our live play-by-play all day long tomorrow, with Tad the Diet Coach, Chris the Technician, and Dave Palumbo. Yours truly. See you tomorrow night.